Hello, everybody. It is me, Emily, the gaming librarian. It has been some time, but I'm here today to talk about my first ever Pax East specifically. So I was really excited about this. I had known for a few months that we were gonna go, so I was very excited for my first PAX experience. It's gonna be a new adventure, and I'm always up for new adventures. And then, of course, the schedule comes out about a month or so before PAX actually happens, and of course it was announced then that Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, my two biggest inspirations, were going to be there. And I managed to meet both of them, which I will talk about in a minute and show some pictures. But for now, we're gonna kind of talk about the experience. So, getting to PAX took about 14 hours of travel by train from where I live to Boston. So that was kind of very exciting for me because I had never been on a train before. And it was really cool to kind of travel through the states and see the different kind of architecture and how like the cities changed and how they looked and things like that. So that was kind of exciting. We got up at 3 in the morning and I drove to the station and we got on a train, and it was kind of exhausting because I hadn't really slept. I just took like a 2.5 hour nap prior to, but I was just so excited that I could not sleep. So we got in Thursday, PAX started on Friday, and so basically I'd already kind of planned out what I wanted to see. PAX has a great app that they use for PAX East, which was it had all like the schedules, maps, everything you can kind of need informationally, and that was really, really helpful because I'm terrible with directions. So that was really fun to kind of use that and figure my way around. But so anyways, I get off track. I'm just so excited to talk about this, so bear with me for a little bit. So Friday morning I got up early because I knew the Markiplier signing was at noon, and I knew I needed to be there early in order to get in line. And thankfully I did get a spot in line. They were handing out tickets, so I was able to get a ticket. I was super excited about that. So then it was kind of just from 8 to 12, really about 8 to 2 when I actually met him, but basically 8 to 12 was just waiting. And this being my first PAX, I'd kind of over prepared. I had this huge backpack where I put like my coat, snacks, my water, games, notebooks, like everything I could basically bring. I'd basically stashed it in my backpack, so I ended up having bruises on my shoulders from where my backpack was so heavy as I was carrying it around. But I wasn't really sure what to expect. You know, some of the forums were like, oh, make sure you bring like a DS if you have it so you can like play games. Some people were just like, oh, the lines aren't that bad, you don't need to do anything. I knew I was going to be waiting for 4 hours, so I brought my DS, did not break it out once during the actual PAX happenings. I did break it out on the train, but not at PAX. So I actually just met friends. I'm a really social person, so I just started talking to people, figuring out like, hey, you know, when did you start watching Markiplier, and like when, you know, what's your favorite video, just kind of basic stuff, talking about that and everything in between, where people were from, what they do, just to kill that basically 6 hour waiting. And I was really surprised by how calm I was. Because up until actually leaving for PAX, I was super anxious and super like, oh my god. When I actually got there and was in line, it kind of felt surreal. So I think my mind thought I was actually in a dream, and so I wasn't freaking out. I'm still kind of thinking I might have been a dream. It was kind of crazy. So I, waited in line for like 6 hours. I think around 1:30, I could actually see Mark from a distance. And I was like, oh my god, he's right there. And the thing that is really strange that some of you probably don't know if you haven't met someone that's really important to you is when you're just seeing them on like TV, or in my case like on a computer, where you just see them basically like every day behind a computer screen, they almost don't feel real. And what I mean by that is they seem so far away that you can imagine meeting them, but you kind of almost forget that they're a real person. Like they kind of seem above humanity in a sense. So it was really strange to just be hit with that sudden realization of like, wow, he's here in person, like in like 4D or whatever it is humans see, and like he's physically here. I can see him, I can hear him. You know, I can, you know, once I got up to him and gave him a hug, I can touch him. Like, it just felt more real to me. And when I actually met him, it was so amazing to just go up to him and say, hi, like, my name is Emily, like, I love your videos. And, you know, of course I gave him a hug, and I had planned everything out. I wrote a letter because I knew it was on a very small amount of time. I think we only had about a minute, I think maybe 45 seconds to a minute to actually do the photo, autograph, and say our piece. So I'd already wrote like a letter to give to him to say, hey, this is basically just what I want to say. I hope that's not weird. He told me it wasn't weird, so I felt relieved with that. And basically I just thanked him for everything he does, especially the charity work that he does, because I think that is something that's really important for the world in general, just because there's so much bad stuff happening at any given time. It's nice to have someone doing something for like the greater good in a sense. So for me, that was really important that I got to say thank you for that. Even if I know I contribute in that, you know, it kind of takes two to tango here, it was just really important for me to tell him how much that meant to me. And the thing I really enjoyed most was that I could tell he was listening. Like, I've seen fan interactions before, not like in person, but, you know, online and stuff, where the people are just like, yeah, sure, thanks, yeah, thanks for stopping by, and you don't get the sense that they're listening. But Mark, actually, I really felt genuinely that he listened. You know, and it's kind of a chilling sense. And, you know, once I said my piece, he just threw out his arms and gave me another hug, and that was just everything to me. So I just kind of kicked off Friday with a great start. And so then I just kind of went around the expo halls and checked out some panels about YouTube and the gaming industry, and basically just kind of wandered. It was kind of a moment of not all that wander or lost. It was very much that. Like, I didn't necessarily have a place I was trying to go. I just wanted to explore. It was like a really awesome sense of freedom to just kind of be in this new city at this huge event. Like, I could not believe how massive this event was. Just to see, wow, this place is massive. Look at all these weird people like me that are coming through these things. So it was really cool to really feel like I belonged. I think because once we get older, you don't have a sense of community all the time. And what I mean by that is, when you're in school, you kind of have your school group, you know, other people who are in school who are going through the same thing. When you're in college, it's the same thing. You kind of have college people. You know, when you're an adult, if you don't belong to something outside of being an adult, like a religion or a specific like club or anything like that, you don't always feel like, at least in my case, I don't always feel like I have a community. Yeah, I kind of have the library community, but within libraries there's so many differences that it's kind of hard to use that as common ground. Whereas with gaming, it was really easy to just walk up to people and be like, hey, what games do you play? Because pretty much everyone there plays some kind of games. And it was more unifying, and that was really cool for me to actually feel like I belonged to this community. So that was really exciting, and I hope one day I get to the point where I feel like I belong with the YouTube community as well. So that was basically Friday. Got dinner, nothing too exciting there, walked around Boston. It's super cold, by the way. I'm sure you guys are aware by now, Boston and other northeastern places are going through a blizzard where they're getting 18 inches of snow, if not more. And I got out before that, thankfully. But really cold, really, really windy, very strong gusts. I was in like a wind tunnel most of the time. So I kind of got blown around a little bit. My hair suffered greatly for this. But yeah, so that was Saturday, or Friday, I mean. Saturday was Mark's panel. Oh, the other thing. Jacksepticeye's panel on Friday was an interesting experience, to say the least. I believe this was his first solo panel, and I felt bad for him. And I say this because basically the format was Q&A, questions and answers. And so he just invited people to line up to a mic to ask him questions. And, before he said that, he was like, just calmly walk up to the mic, get in line, ask questions. So many people immediately just ran to where 2 seconds later he just shouted, "What did I just say?" And I kind of chuckled at that because I expected people were not going to listen and that they were going to run. But it is a big safety issue when you have like a bunch of people kind of all running to the same point. But then a lot of the questions weren't actually questions. And I think that really made it hard on Jack. A lot of people weren't going to be there Sunday when he had his signings and just really wanted to talk to him. And this was the way that they did that. So I felt bad for him because then he kind of had to deal with, talking to these people in a format he wasn't expecting. A lot of people didn't get to answer their questions or didn't get to ask their questions because so many people went up to the mic to just say their piece. And I understand that, but at the same time, I really feel like there's a time and a place for that type of thing. And while I know they couldn't meet him, on Sunday, I still feel like they should have tried to ask a question at least, rather than just saying stuff. So that's all. I'll get into that, just because I don't want to seem too negative, but it was kind of surprising. So Saturday was Mark's panel, so Mark and Friends rather. So I lined up early because there was a big crowd forming like a couple of hours before the panel had started, and wow, it was a fun time. So Mark has put that up online on his channel, so if you want to watch it you can, which is a great idea. But I really enjoyed being there live. That was kind of a fun experience, and I thought it was really sweet because the first 2 rows in the main part of the theater were Make-A-Wish kids, and I just thought that was really touching that he somehow coordinated that with them to have them be there at this event that I don't know if a lot of them would be able to attend normally. So I thought that was really cool that he made that happen for them. The panel itself was great. It was really funny, and there were lots of moments that were really touching. And honestly, I left the panel feeling really inspired and uplifted. There's a lot of nice things said, and you guys can watch that, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. On Sunday was Jack's autograph session, and the day before, so on Saturday, I'd asked an enforcer, I was like, hey, I plan on coming to this. How, when should I get to the convention? And he was like, 7. The doors don't open until 8. This is a.m. The doors don't open until 8 a.m. He was like, be there at 7. I got there at 6:40, and there were people who had been waiting since like 5 in the morning. And it is freezing outside. It is less than like 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius, because America. Sorry. So it was freezing outside. And, I was out there at like 6:40. People were out there since like 5 in the morning. I think some people might have been there earlier. And because it was so cold, they did let us in the door earlier. And this is where things got really disappointing for me. So they let us in earlier, and they direct everyone to a specific location. Once we get to the escalator to go down to this location, which is the queue room, we all had to stop. And before we got there, as we're walking, people are kind of speed walking. There's a little bit of jostling. People are basically, there's an enforcer kind of leading it, and with the idea if you don't go past the enforcer, people are like right next to the enforcer, like wanting to be the first in line. And so we get to the part where we have to go down the escalator, and we stop because the escalator is not on currently. And I don't know what was going on. They have to turn it on somehow, so we had to wait. So we're all just standing there. And then suddenly, so much pushing and shoving and running happens because the escalator has turned on and people have just started going. And so people are pushing and shoving and running while we're trying to go down the escalator. And unfortunately, a lot of this was from the Jacksepticeye fandom, which is why it's disappointing. When you have so many people, it's a big safety issue. There were small kids there too, so I was really concerned about these like little tiny children going down and possibly being like walked over. So we get to the place where we're supposed to line up. The line splits for people who are waiting for the expo hall and people who are waiting for the Jacksepticeye signing. And to my surprise, this is around probably 7:40 by this point. They start giving out tickets, which in some ways I understand. Just because, those people are already there, why not give them tickets? But at the same time, it was also a bit unfair for the people who didn't get there early and would have come later because they wouldn't think that it would open early. Even if they wouldn't have gotten a ticket anyways, it was still kind of unfair to them. And, I was lucky to get a ticket to the signing, but by the time I got a ticket, and I was kind of first-ish in line. I wasn't too far from the front, and because of the pushing and shoving, I kind of got jostled towards the back. And by the time I got a ticket, there was only 30 left. And I think I heard the total they gave out was like 250. So it was really surprising. I think they basically said the tickets went out in like 9 minutes. That's how quick it went. But for me, it was just so disheartening to see the fans act in a frenzy like that. Ultimately, Jack is a human being. He's a real person with thoughts and feelings. And I'm almost positive that he would not have wanted people to push and shove and risk their safety and the safety of others just to meet him. So it's kind of disappointing that the fandom behaved in such a way. And I know there was kind of this frenzy because a lot of them had wanted to see Mark and they weren't able to, so they were kind of panicked about not being able to see Jack. I get that. But if you had just walked, you still would have gotten a ticket. So I was really kind of saddened by that. So I hope in the future the Pax either has more enforcers that are able to kind of control things better, or they're stricter, or I don't know, people just behave better. But it was a little disappointing for me to witness that myself, to see kind of how, kind of this idea of fame, if you will, can kind of make people not think so rationally at times. So, I don't know. But ultimately, I did get to meet Jack, and I was a little sad because I only had about 30 seconds to meet Jack, and I had to explain what my letter was. I got something signed from him for a friend who couldn't make it in line, and gave him something that she also wanted to give him And I just kind of felt rushed because I knew people were waiting and I didn't want to go over my 30 seconds. So I very quickly, thanked him for making me laugh every day. And I really feel like it came off as insincere. And that makes me very sad because I really hope that he would know that I truly mean what I say, that, I love watching his videos every day and getting a laugh out of them. They make me feel great when I've had a shit day, and I just hope I did not come across as insincere to him. So hopefully I did not. So that's kind of the YouTube part of PAX. Just going around and experiencing all the video games, talking to some of the developers themselves, some of which the games I will be playing soon will be ones that I saw at PAX, so I'm really excited about that. Overall, there were things I didn't expect that surprised me, and I really leave PAX with kind of a bittersweet feeling. I finally felt like part of a community, and then I have to leave that all behind. And I know I'm still part of that community, but it's not as apparent when it's just you and another person and maybe a couple people here and there. You feel very much like this weird subculture. And I guess gaming is, in a way. But also, PAX was just so exciting for me. Like, going on adventures and trying all these new things, that everything now almost kind of feels mundane. So it's a little sad. I have the PAX blues. I did not get the PAX Pox, yet at least. I have heard of people have already gotten it, but I am so far so good. Even though my voice sounds a little hoarse, that's just because I'm probably dehydrated, like usual. But I am not sick. So overall, it was an amazing experience for me. It was very inspiring, and I think I have new motivation and new kind of energy to do what I want to do, which is YouTube. And so basically I'm going to talk about that for a minute. So I know if you follow my channel, I haven't been posting in a while. Initially that was because I didn't have the equipment that I wanted to have. My equipment was kind of old, so playing even simple games was taxing it, and the videos came out choppy, and I wasn't happy with that, and I don't ever want to be happy with that. So I couldn't put out videos knowing that it would be terrible quality. And while I know my, camera isn't the best, it's not the worst either, but I still couldn't just put out like crap videos. That's just my own standards. So initially that was it, and now I do have a better setup. It's just been kind of a time issue. So the way things are gonna go from here on out, my plan is I'm going to start recording videos, and I'm going to record them in advance of when I post them. So there's still going to be a little bit of space between this video and when I actually start posting my gaming videos again. But there's gonna definitely be some changes, I think, in the way I do them. I feel more comfortable in front of a camera now. I don't know why. But so I'm going to work on recording videos, and hopefully in about a month or so, I will be able to start posting them for you guys, and you'll get to see some exciting new content and not just flash games all the time. Hopefully I'll be able to play some real games. So I'm really looking forward to getting started, and I'm really excited about this adventure that we're going to go on together. And I hope that as my channel grows, that, new opportunities will open up and we'll get to go on even more adventures together. So I do plan on doing vlogs here and there, and hopefully more regularly in the future. For now, they'll probably just be sparse just to do updates until I actually start posting some videos. So that was it. That was my first PAX experience. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I will answer them about what it's like being at PAX for the first time. If you have any comments on your experiences, let me know. If you met me, let me know that too. So yeah, so if you like this, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, ask me questions, whatever you want to do, and subscribe if you're not already. So thank you guys. I will see you soon in the next month or so, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.